because time flies. But yeah, 3 years. Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah. I think in Canada, while we also have a research center in the East Coast, but not in BC. Or we are located in the West Coast.
Yes.
British Columbia, but Huawei has a major research center in Toronto area, I think.
Yes, this is where I'm working. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So
yeah, in Markham, yeah, in Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But I think we have something in British Columbia as well.
Do we? Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Do you actually
so,
take?
Yeah.
Do you take a lot of intern students?
We used before COVID to have a lot of students in place. We have now. I think we have a co-op program, but it's you have to apply through university.
Okay.
Not directly through the Huawei.
I see.
Yeah.
Cami, it's Ahmad will join us, or he's busy today?
Nope, he's busy today, so I'll go ahead and lead this presentation. So I was just going to say that I'll go ahead and get started now, and I'll kind of watch as students can log on again. So yeah, so we'll go ahead and get started. So want to thank you, Dr. Walid, again for joining us today. It's TRU's Career Week, so we appreciate that you can come and present for us today.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, well, thank you. And you know, most of our students on here will be software engineering students, but this presentation is open to students all across the university as well. So just want to give a little bit of a background on Dr. Walid Ahmed. He's a full-time professor at the College of Computer and Information Technology. He teaches programming courses like Java, Python, web programming, and is currently working as a senior machine learning engineer at the Intelligent Computing R&D Department in Huawei Technologies. He has a Ph.D. in electrical engineering from Alexandria University in Egypt. His areas of expertise are machine learning, deep learning, and computer vision. Dr. Ahmed is a member of the Professional Engineers of Ontario, and he has 2 patents and more than 40 published research papers in the field of intelligent systems. So again, want to thank you for joining us today. We just have some questions that, if you don't mind, we'll start to ask you.
Yeah, sure.
And then, you know, students feel free to ask questions in the chat as well as they come up, and we'll go ahead and filter through those questions as well. So if you could tell us a little bit about your skills and your career path.
Okay, thank you. So mainly I was into the academic part. I got my master and PhD, and I started teaching, and I became like a full-time professor. Then I moved to Canada, and I decided to work in industry and not in teaching directly. So currently I'm like full-time working in Huawei as working in the field of machine learning and deep learning. So while I was teaching, I was more into programming courses. So this helped me when I moved to industry, so that the practical part was already there, and yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Can you kind of explain for the students a typical day, what a typical day looks like for you, and how you kind of split tasks and deal with the challenges, either those tasks or challenges in society you might bring to your work as well?
Yeah, sure. So a typical day will start with a morning meeting around 9:30, where you would kind of report what you did yesterday and what do you plan to do today. And you share this with the whole team. You also share any problems that you face, because maybe there are common problems, so we can all look for common solutions. And usually we work in in team. Like I have someone working with me in a team of 2, in a team of 3. It's a rare situation to be working alone in a task. So yeah, so this is like a typical day. And then after the meeting, I kind of have like a mindset what I'll be doing at that day. I'll start coding, and most of it was coding and debugging. And this is like when we are in the middle of project. If we are in starting a project, there it's time for reading. So we do some reading, some research paper, reading some research paper, finding the state of art of the implementation as well. What's there implemented already as a code. And if we are at the final phase of the project, it's like reporting and evaluation and testing and code cleaning. So the day will depend on which phase we are in the project.
Perfect, thanks. Like typically, how long would a project can take you? I'm sure it varies a bit, but is there kind of a
so sometimes yeah, so sometimes the project is like 2 years, but within the project there are phases. A phase can take like 4 months, 5 months.
Okay,
and, yeah, and usually
oh, sorry,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Usually you have enough time. So in the start of the project, it's like a honeymoon of the project, because you have time to read and think and go right and go left. And then within the middle of the project, it will become more tense. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And do you typically see the project from start to finish, or are you just kind of a piece of the project?
No, in my work, it's from start to finish.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Another question, based on your experience, what would you say the needed software engineering skills our students would need in order to be in your industry?
Okay, so since I'm working in a very specific industry of deep learning, so there are some, beside the programming skills for sure, there are some frameworks that the student should be aware of, like the TensorFlow, like the PyTorch frameworks. He should like totally be confident of using them, because we need people to do things. So there's no one here in my path. There is no, like, you have an idea and you tell someone to implement it. You have to implement it yourself. So you should have like confident in the tools of programming. So this is something from the tools point of view. Other skills also including like data structures, algorithms, complexity, because we care not only about building a solution, we care also about how efficient is the solution in terms of time, in terms of usage of memory. Also the basics, like how to work on a terminal, how to use Docker, for example, how to use virtual machines, because all these tasks you have to do it yourself. Somehow you cannot like ask someone. There is someone to help you, but people will expect you to handle yourself like more, so without extra help. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. So kind of help our students a little bit too, as you know, they look to apply for jobs. If you were to interview a candidate at your company, what would you like to see on their CV?
GitHub. I need to see a GitHub repo with some projects. This is the first thing. So I think throughout the study, a student can build his own portfolio of projects, and he should have his own GitHub repos with things that he already built. So the first thing that I look for is if for his account on GitHub, we check the software that he built, even if it's like projects in college or university. We have a look on it to make sure that he really into the field. And also somehow for me, I like to have it like the student is into deep learning. So most of the projects are related to deep learning. It's not like scattered from different application or even different programming language. But this is how I see it. Because I would like to know that the candidate is in love with deep learning. So he has a passion for deep learning. So most of his work is related to deep learning. So GitHub is something. We also look for university for sure, which university, the discipline he's from. And sometimes we have candidates that already published papers. We look at the papers published. Yeah.
Okay. Even so, when you talk about the papers being published, even if a student has worked with, say, a faculty member on a research project or research paper,
Yes.
is that a benefit for a student to
Yes,
have that
sure.
experience?
Sure. Yes, we look for these things, especially.
Oh, I think you have frozen up. Is everybody seeing that frozen?
Yeah, I think maybe he actually logs off, and I think he logged off. Maybe he'll come back on, or maybe, I don't know.
Okay, we'll see.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see if he can. I see him up there. He is joining us from Egypt, so he is on vacation and joining us. So maybe there's just a little bit of that. We'll just. Oh,
Cami,
yep.
Yes,
Oh,
sorry,
there.
I was disconnected.
Okay.
For this. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, we're.
Yours.
Just had seen that. So yeah, so it is beneficial for students to have that experience as well, even if they're working with a faculty member on a research paper or research project as well. That would be a benefit on their CV as well.
Yes, exactly.
And can you kind of explain a little bit of the interview process, especially within your company, just so students kind of have an idea maybe what they can expect if they're going to go that route?
Okay, so usually the jobs are posted on LinkedIn. The recruiters post a job on LinkedIn. I actually applied through LinkedIn, and I applied more than once actually. So I think this is a general advice. Even if you apply once, apply again, apply third time. And the recruiter will share the recruiter will do some filtering for the CVs, just very initial filtering, and then the resumes will be shared with us, with the team. So we have like a panel to look at the resumes. So we then like choose like a short list based on the CVs. So what actually we look on the CVs, like I mentioned, the GitHub, and there are some buzzwords that should pop up in the CV. We look for it, like the frameworks, like I mentioned, TensorFlow, Keras, PyTorch, deep learning, computer vision, NLP, BERT. Some words that mean that is actually the candidate is, he or she is aware of the current state of the art and working with the top products that are available. So after that, we have an interview with the candidate. There will be like theoretical questions and practical questions as well. So for the theoretical part, we ask about deep learning, we ask about NLP. Sometimes some people, some students will work computer vision or NLP. Some candidates wants to work in computer vision, some candidates work in NLP. Sometimes we are lucky for someone who can work in both fields. He has like the both wings. So we ask theoretical questions about both fields. We ask general questions also about machine learning as well. Not always. So not all the questions are related to deep learning. We ask about data structure and algorithms as well. Questions, some questions, and then we have the coding part where he will code in front of us in whatever language he would like.
Sure.
And yeah, he has to like show that he really can code and he really can think and can have like a valid approach to solve problems, even if it's very difficult. So even if he didn't reach a result, we still will evaluate his approach as well. So this is the interview part, like the test part, and then there is like meetings with manager, meeting with HR, and if he passes each step.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and I guess going back a little bit on your teams, how many of you are typically on a team working on a project together?
We're like around 9 now.
Okay.
In my team, we have a team of 9, but within this 9, we might find like three and three working. Yeah, so in like 3 different tasks within the project.
Okay, wonderful. Good. Yeah, I know our students have lots of group projects in their design classes as well. So getting that experience already
Yeah.
and knowing that that's going to possibly lead into their industry as well once they
Yes,
graduate.
exactly. Yeah, everything counts. Yeah.
That's right. Do you have any advice for our students to gain industrial experience while they're studying here at TRU? What would you, any advice you would give them on what they could do to gain some of this experience before they graduate?
Yeah, so I think Kaggle is something that they can use like attempting the competition on Kaggle and trying to get like ranked on Kaggle. This shows that because you will be working with like real data sets, so you can do projects and you can share this project on GitHub as well. So Kaggle is something respected. We look for Kaggle if the candidates already have done some work there.
Okay.
I also sometimes found some students who write articles on like Medium or towards data science, and so they share like their blog. So we read. So this is actually nice also that he reads something, he summarized. So we kind of read what the student is writing, which should be practical as well. So this means that he has some experience. Beside that, I think if a student is clever enough, he can build something on the GitHub related to, even if it's not from Kaggle, build like a simple product. My work mainly is into research, so I'm not into building the final product. But if someone can build a product, so I have seen students who have like mobile applications already under their name. So if you can build an application, a very simple application. Yes, if you can build like maybe mobile application that do something related to deep learning as well. Excuse me, can you hear me?
Yep. No, absolutely. No.
Okay, I think it's you are, yeah, okay, very good, because I see if everything is frozen at my side, but I think maybe okay, now it's good.
Is it good now?
Okay. Yeah.
It does come in and out, like every now and then you will kind of freeze,
Yeah, so
we've been able to
so
hear
if you
you
can
the whole time.
yeah, yeah, I will stop the video. Okay, very good. I will stop the video at my side to save the bandwidth.
Sure.
So so like related to like classifiers, for example. This shows that you can build something deploy that you shows that you can do as well.
We've missed some of that, Walid. You just kind of cut out a little bit there.
Yes, I was mentioning that you can build products like a mobile application, an Android application or something, and this has some flavor of deep learning, like building an application that will classify the type of birds, for example. So you share this, that you build something.
Sure. Okay.
You can do something. So this is part of industrial experience as well.
Perfect. Okay. We do have a question in the chat. Wondering, you were talking about some of the was it what did you say, the Git hip or Git, we were talking about some of the links that if you could put those links in
GitHub and Kaggle, yeah,
where students can look to do some of those projects or upload some of those projects.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And then we can go ahead and pass those on to the students as well. So yeah, yes, thank you.
Okay.
Another kind of question for our students, just to kind of see where the software engineering industry is going. Where do you see the software engineering industry going in the next 5 years? Do you expect a surge in the demands for the software?
It's more. Yeah, I think we are safe for like 20 years or something. A large demand for software engineering for sure. I also find like new programming languages now, like the Kotlin language. I see a demand on some specific languages.
Okay, and what are those specific languages again that you're seeing? Dr. Ahmed, I just can't hear you.
Talking
Oh,
now.
there you
Can you
go.
hear me?
There, now I can hear you.
Okay, very good. Okay. So there will be a demand for sure. I was just mentioning the programming language called Kotlin because I see like a lot of demand on this language recently. I think it's like the new Java. So
Okay.
this is something that I would recommend students also to learn about.
Okay, good. Do you mind just putting that the name of that language into the chat as well? Just so we can make sure we pass that on to
Sure.
the students as well. I'm sure some, the software engineering students hearing this would know what you're talking about, but maybe if there's some students that this is a new industry for them, just to even see that. Perfect, thank you. And for myself, so when I'm talking to students as well, I'll know what to refer to them.
Okay.
And just, are there any opportunities at your company that software engineering students can apply to? I know you kind of talked a little bit with us before we had kind of started recording about, if there are co-op opportunities with your company, but are there those opportunities for students at Hawaii?
Yeah, so I don't think we accept co-op students directly. We have a program through universities. So the university and Hawaii have like a program where the students will apply. We do, and the students can pick us for sure at the same time. So it's done through university itself. So I can actually dig more for this, find like the contact person, and I will share the contact person for sure with the university.
Oh, that would be wonderful. We actually have our co-op coordinator on the call with us as well, who works with our students with placing them in co-op positions. So that would be fantastic as well. Leanne is here with us, so yes,
sure.
I'd be very appreciative.
No worries. I would love to. Yeah, hi Leanne, how are you? Okay.
This is great. I have a couple questions for you.
Yes.
The first question is, I am working with students currently and, securing that first co-op job or second or third. And once they've secured the job, because you've given us lots of advice about that, but what about on the job? How can students better leverage and develop themselves while they're working as an intern or co-op student?
Okay, I think so. I have seen some very good co-op students who helped us, and then they end up hired in the company as well. So I think one of the things is to get prepared before you join the company. Like if you can have some information about what type of projects you will be working on, like a vague idea, an abstract idea, the name of the projects, and maybe you can prepare yourself before joining the project itself. So people would like to that you will show some output maybe after like 2 weeks or something. So it's better to be ready before you join. What is the context of the projects you will be working on? You can ask about the tasks that you are expected to do, and instead of just joining and then asking after you join. So I think this will help.
Yeah, that's really good advice. We heard that from our other presenter as well, just being a little proactive and showing initiative.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
I have another personal question for you.
Okay.
You
Nice.
started out in teaching and
Yes.
now you've moved to industry.
Yes.
Can you compare those two? Which do you like better? What are the similarities and differences?
That's a very difficult question. Very difficult question. I might not even be able to answer. So I guess the tension is more in the industry for sure. We have deadlines. Things might not work. The code might not be working. So I feel more tense when I'm working in industry than I used to do in teaching. So it's like a trade-off. But somehow in industry, I see products. I like to see the output. In teaching, I like to. If I'm teaching a course and a student likes the course, I'm like flying in the sky. So this is another rewarding thing. If you meet a student after like a couple of years or 10 years and say that, okay, this course helped me in my career, it's also rewarding. So, but in a matter of how tension life is, I would assume industry definitely is more tension. Yeah, more interesting. Yes, I guess so. It's more interesting. You have to keep unless so if I'm teaching, I guess to keep the teaching more interesting for me, I would like jump from courses. I wouldn't teach a course for a long time and then jump for another course. So this will also, if this in teaching, this will somehow give a flavor of industry as well.
Can you give us an example of a project that was your favorite, or it could be current project or a past project, but what was one of your favorites?
You mean in my current kind of working now?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In how? Okay, so I cannot. Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot share a lot about my current projects in Huawei. But actually, I can share something on my project I did before I joined Huawei, because it's already on YouTube. The projects. So I worked in a company that was building AI application for the construction industry. So they had like video cameras, streams coming, video streams coming from construction sites, and we build applications using deep learning to count like the trucks, classify the trucks, detect excavators, detect if a worker is not wearing a hard hat or a safety vest. So we build a lot of deep learning computer vision applications for the construction. So this was really very nice because it was really applied work. We have the stream and we build our product. So this was something very nice.
Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yeah, no worries. I'm sorry because the connection from my side is very bad.
No, it's sounding good. We can definitely hear you now. There's been little bits and pieces where it's cut out, but no, it's been good. And I've got another question.
Yeah, you have to guess it. I think you have to guess it. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it helped you put some of it in the chat. Then we can kind of fill those pieces in too. Are there any suggestions for tips and tricks that you can give for our students while they are preparing their CVs or their applications once they do graduate and start to apply for a job?
Okay, so there are some skills that should show up in your resume. Things like pandas, for example. Some library, sklearn. So there are some things that everyone would like to see in the resume. So I think one way to see what people are looking for is to look through LinkedIn, go through the profile of people and see the skills they have. And skills, either you to learn it, or if you already have it, you can put it in the resume. So it's all about skills now, and the skills are like there is a different names for the skills, but you need to have like a group of these things. So I would expect the student to know pandas. Expect the student and go to the LinkedIn, check the profile of people working, look for the group of skills the person is mentioning about himself that you already know about, and make sure that this show up in his resume by learning. For sure, he should learn these skills and put it in his resume. And as you know now, in LinkedIn shows like this job matches you because you have these skills as well. So it's all about skills. I think now there is something with machine learning that would match a candidate to a job based on his resume as well. A computer will do this. So it's better to make sure that you have these buzzwords in the resume.
Thank you. Yeah, that's definitely some good tips to tell students, especially about the buzzwords. And you're right, the computer picking that up, especially through LinkedIn, and then kind of matching, the student up with
Yes.
different opportunities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, Leanne.
Just to expand on this, are there any soft skills that you think companies are looking for as well, in addition to the technical?
Yes, working in a teamwork for sure. Working in a teamwork, because it's always, and I don't think I have seen someone like working alone. How to handle arguments, how to handle conflicts. So we ask candidates about like problem that they faced, even with their managers, how they dealt with the problems. How do you deal with pressure? And not only my company, but all the companies will put the candidate in some type of pressure during the interview to see how he will react. It's not like a nice journey in the interview. We should be hard on the candidate to see how he responds actually, because there will be deadlines, and so it's built in any interview, I guess. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, the field is great. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Roger.
Yeah, I just want to follow up on the more technical side. If
Yes.
student actually applying job in a big company like Huawei or Facebook, they need to practice the test as well as prepared for your on-site programming kind of a test. Do you have any recommendation so how students can prepare themselves? For example, is there any actually resource on the website they can practice this before they go to the interview? Any advice on that?
No, we don't have this type of resources, but I would advise anyone, because there are a lot of resources, generic resources. So if you can Google questions, deep learning interview questions,
Okay.
machine learning questions, this actually this really helps. So I would create my own. If I'm going to an interview, I would create my own document with question and answers, put it in something like Notion, for example, and keep updating these questions and answers. If there is an answer that I don't understand, I will just keep improving it, keep learning it. So I'll have my documents at the end with lots of questions and answers from different resources online. And I think these things somehow match what companies will ask for. For the coding questions, I think there are, I don't really recall the name, but there are a lot of websites that offer programming challenges. So the student can, that show up in an interview. So the student can also look for this type of websites which offer some problems and get ready if there will be like a part of coding that he will do.
Another follow-up question is on the soft skill. You mentioned during the interview, there are some questions are designed intentionally to test how the candidate responds to a conflict or pressure. So I just want to, whether you could provide some example of what kind of a conflict question and what is the answer to that. Obviously, for students, there never been at least there never been many of interview like this. So any example or something?
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, so I cannot share specific examples, but the idea is that there will be some questions that the student would not, the candidate would never expect to see it in. So he will be surprised, even if he Googled everything. It's our own questions. So it's his first time to see a challenge like this. So we need to see, will he just say, okay, I don't know how to do this, I will not attempt this question, and this is very bad for sure, or he will say, okay, this is new for me, but I will do my best and try to do it. So this is some type of pressure. Maybe some questions will be pressure to candidates, others will be easy, but definitely there will be things that he will be challenged with under pressure, how to solve it. So we need to see this as well. The way he argue actually with us, because we might tell him, but this is, do you think this is correct or something? How he take criticism if we criticize his answer also, because some people are like tension in the interview, they don't accept second opinion even in the interview. So I think this will not help when we go to the real work as well.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Dr. Ahmed here? No. Well, I really want to thank you for taking your time today, especially being
It's
on
my
holiday
pleasure.
with us and in Egypt. I do have one question when we were talking as well, and I know I've had some students in the last year and a half talk to me about this as well. As far as remote, now, do you have most of the employees there in your branch of Hawaii work in the Toronto branch or the area, or is there opportunities for students, or not students, sorry, but employees to work remotely? I know we've seen that through the pandemic, but is that something that could possibly be going forward? I know I've had students ask me, oh, I want to work from home, but they still want to work, for these big companies, and just wondering, if that's something that we can see going forward.
Actually, I don't think working from home will be like a continuing process for like 5 days. I think they will have like a system where you go for the work for like 2 days a week or something like that after COVID, because most people would like to have the physical interaction in the meetings.
Sure.
I would love to work from home for sure. I like working from home, definitely 100%. But I don't think this model will continue. We will be as long as we get rid of COVID, I guess. Maybe there will be like a mixed like working two days or something at work and 3 days at home. If someone is very good, he can bargain with the company. That's another story. If you are really good and you like to work from home and you are exceptional, you can ask for it. You can ask the HR. You say that I have for like the next year I will have to work from home, and this will be something that might be considered if the company really wants it. But this is not specifically for Huawei. This is for any company.
For sure. Okay. No,
Yeah.
that makes sense. No, just
Yeah.
just curious, kind of seeing where even some of the trends are going. If it is even a mix or people heading right back to the office as well. I mean, I think there's benefits to both sides, but
I don't know. It's working with people in the team. I really enjoy working from home big time, but working in a team with people that I have never met in real life, this is kind of strange for me.
Yeah, it's brought different dynamics for sure. But as we've seen, it's allowed us to even do something, like this much more at ease than what we probably would have thought 2 years ago. We would have done as well, right? So it's definitely brought some positives. Just kind of curious talking to different people in the industry, where some of the industries are going as well, if it's a mix or back to the office or deciding to be from home. So yeah, no, that's Good. I appreciate that insight too.
No, thank you.
But well, one last option here from some questions. Are there any questions from anyone? All right, I don't think so. But again,
Okay.
thank you so much for joining us today. This was
Yes.
really a lot of good insights, lots of great information for our students. We will be sharing this across campus to many students here at TRU.
That's
So
great.
really thank you for
Yeah.
your time today.
Yeah, it's actually my pleasure. I really enjoyed the talk, and I would look forward to actually to more of this. Yeah, so I'm waiting for sure for any other activity.
Absolutely, we would love to
Thank you.
have you talk to more of our students as well. So
Yeah,
that would be
thank you.
great.
Okay, thank you.
Roger, did you have a question? You're just muted.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. So Dr. Walid, do you mind actually, or do you allow to give a presentation to our student? You know, it's more academic, you know, more what the research you're doing. You know, is there something you're willing to do? It's more like you've been a university professor and you've been doing a lot of research, and now a lot of application. So I just wondered whether you can accept our invitation to give
Yes.
a lecture in the data
Yes.
science or in the software engineering.
Yeah, I can definitely give a lecture, but somehow it's a generic lecture on
Yes.
the field. Yes.
Sure.
But as you would expect, I cannot like talk about the actual projects that we are doing at all.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yes. Yeah. So I'll in that case,
love to, yeah.
will ask Ahmed to contact you for a future lecture, you know, maybe in a few months or anytime it's convenient to you.
Yeah, sure. I would love to.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice talking to you. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much
Okay.
again. Enjoy the
Okay.
rest of your time and safe flight
Thank
back.
you. Thanks. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. You too.